guys, Joebizz34 back again, and here we go. Halloween special 1/6 vid 2023, and this is going to be this is going to be like 1/6 mania this year. I got a lot in store. Picked up a little strobe light for a added effect from Five Below. So if you want one for your, add some special Halloween mood, you know, go to Five Below and get one for $5. So anyway, let me turn that off now before I give somebody watching this a seizure. So I wanted to start this video off with a bang, basically showing this beautiful figure. I've been teasing this for a little while. I kind of kept it quiet a little while when I bought it because I wanted to save this for, I didn't acquire it that long ago, but I wanted to save it for the vid, open it up with this. This is easily a main event, but at the same time, I got so much to show that, yeah, this is going to be full of choc. This is chock nut full here. Oh, I think I messed up that saying, but you know what I mean. Chock full of nuts, that's it. So, yeah, so this is a beautiful piece right here, one of one of this version. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he did actually make another one of these, Tony Clements. And he's like a tattoo artist, but he does some Jasons, usually in other scales. If you guys remember, last couple of years I showed off the kind of like the one, I don't know, between 1/4 and 1/3 size Jason 7 that I got off him. But this is in 1/6 scale, and I think this is only the second of two he's ever made. But I say it's one of one because this one's different than the other one he made, so it is unique. So I wouldn't say it wasn't a run. He just kind of separately made one point and then this one another point. And he claims this one has improvements over the first one that he made that somebody somewhere has. But this is just amazing stuff right here. And I'm just happy to own it, and I just got it at the right time when it was available. And basically what makes this so unique is that the body is very heavy. The body is actually silicone. And what he wanted to do here is he wanted to simulate making the figure similar to the actual kind of like stop motion figure they made that they used for the movie. And he wanted it to have that sort of flexibility and posability. So he made this beautiful base, which I'll show you something you could do with the base in a little bit. There's a peg that's in the base here that you can put the foot in. He put a hole, just like the old Kenner Star Wars figures from the 70s and 80s. So, it kind of adds more support on the base with these branches and stuff that he gave in the back. I think, picked out a real branch to kind of add to it, just to kind of, add to the effect more of the base. But, although the base is cool, it's not necessary. He can stand on his own. Let me get him off the base here. You just got to make sure you find the center of gravity, right? And he's very posable. Okay, I don't want to make a liar of myself here, but he's very posable, as you can see. The whole body is built on like an endoskeleton, like a metal endoskeleton that is surrounded by silicone. So there's no joints. It's not a typical body. It's a complete unique body that he created. He made out of silicone, out of a mold into silicone. So it's got like a very weighted feel to it because the metal, the body itself, the skeleton of the body is metal, surrounded by soft silicone. So again, very posable. You could pretty much do whatever you want with him and pose him in any way you want. And it's really a unique piece. And, he went, look at the back here. I'll show you the details in the back here. He's got the belt and the pants that he did all himself. He did all the tailoring himself. Look at the back here, the mold. And this, like I said, this is soft. This is, it looks like a spine, but it's actually soft. Look at that. Look at the grime and the dirt he did there. Very nice, beautiful work. I can't complain at all. And like I said, it's very flexible. You can move the arms. You can kind of expand. It's hard to do with one hand, obviously. But as you can see, you can kind of pose him any way you want. You can close his arms, his arms spread out. So like I said, you could change the positioning so easily. The knife, the machete is homemade. He made the machete himself with the blood on it. And it is made of like a metal. So it's got a realistic look and feel to it. And Yeah, and there's the hole in the foot, the peg that goes into the base here. I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to show you something about the base that adds to the coolness of this. I'll be right back. All right, so as you could see, if you get a puck light or any sort of LED light to put under the base, it creates this fiery Jason Goes to Hell look, like lava look at the end of the movie when he gets sucked, and you can have the figure on there. So you can see him, and it's hard to see in the dark, obviously, but it's a really cool effect. I'm going to turn the lights back on now so you can kind of see it in normal light. But look at how cool and vivid that is. I have a LED puck light under the base, but it stands out even in with light on. It still stands out. So if you want to have a little fun with the display, there it is. Very easy, and I'll show you. I put the figure here. Okay, so very simply, I put the puck light underneath. So you get any kind of light, and as soon as you put the light under there, it illuminates the base, which is fantastico. All right, so Tony Clements, one of two, I guess, ever made. One of one, if you consider it a one-off. He did say he was going to make a certificate of authenticity for me at some point. I'll have to get back to him at some point so he could do that. But again, really, really cool. And like I said, you can get some really good poses out of this figure because it's all silicone. You know, he gave me some tutorials and videos, explained how I can move him around. Now, the one thing he didn't do, now in there, if you get really close, you can see he's got an eyeball in there, which looks very accurate to the movie. Let me see how close I can get in there. Look at that. Look how cool it is. Looks like a movie poster. It looks like the real deal right there. And he did not go with the unmasked look. This mask is not removable. I mean, it's on there. It's removable in the sense that you could pop it off, but you don't want to because it's not meant to come off. There is no sculpt underneath. He put the hair there. Look at the real hair he's got going on there, which is accurate to the film. He did have brownish and white hair kind of hanging out of his head there, coming out of his head. But, and the paintwork on the mask is incredibly good. Very nice. He matched up the color of the silicone to the paint. He did the paint work, kind of make it match. Very nicely done. There's the straps, the strap work on the mask, everything. Very cool. And there's the buttons. I mean, he went all out, man. I mean, he did a really great job. And the weathering here on the slits and the clothing is fantastic. And, he said to me, he didn't want to really go with the unmasked version because it didn't actually happen in the film. I mean, we all know that everybody loves removable masks, and, there is a certain look that supposedly was under the mask that we all know. And, so there's been people that have, there's been other artists, obviously, who's made the figure to show an unmasked sculpt, right? But he chose not to. He didn't feel it was necessary because he said, in reality, it is a behind-the-scenes thing and not something that actually appeared in the film. So he didn't bother. That was his take. He didn't bother doing it. So that's the deal. But it's a very cohesive piece. And to be honest with you, I don't really care. He went with the solid mask, not the blown out mask with the damage by the eye. So, this is the default look before he gets blown up in the beginning of the film, I guess you could say. And it's really, really a cool piece, though. And I'm very lucky to have it. So let's move on and show some other stuff. All right, I'm back with my annoying strobe effect light again. Wanted to show a few more Jasons here. And I want to talk about, there's Jason Goes to Hell that I just talked about, still looming in the back. I figured this was a good team up here. Got a lot of Jasons to show this year. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be showing something that's special to my heart here that represents Jason 7. But I have a lot of Jason goodness in these videos coming up, especially part 7. I got a lot of work that I'm going to show of my own and other people, artists, Creep Customs and so on. But I have a special treat this year. I'm going to be showing within these parts, and for the first time ever, I think this might actually be a 3-part event instead of 2. So it's going to be my longest video ever. I got so much to show. Gallactibles, aka Dan Terzo, has I've made some deals to buy some of his stuff, which I'll be showing here. But also he's I wanted to help him out and kind of promote some of his stuff that he's been working on. He's been killing it, doing a lot of stuff. He's got some runs along with Tinela. Everybody in the hobby knows Tinela. She's been around for a while as well, doing the tailoring, killing it with the tailoring, and her husband doing weapons and so on. and they've been collaborating, with their own stuff as well as with other artists, other people like David Tucker and so on. That they've been doing some whether they're doing one-offs or they're doing runs. They have a lot to announce, and I had the privilege and honor of interviewing them. Let me turn the strobe off right now. And I had the privilege of interviewing them, and it went for about an hour or so. And I'm gonna split it up so you guys can see it. And as you know, a couple years ago, I had the pleasure of being in Ricardo Guzman's home. Shout out to him. And I was able to show his collection, and it was fun to make the video even more special for this time of year. Like I said, for me, this is my WrestleMania, for 1/6, right? To show the Halloween vid, show off everything, and I'm going to be showing that. So I'm going to show a little of my stuff, show a couple of Gallactibles pieces that he's either loaned me or some that I have purchased. Now, the editing and stuff and what you're going to hear in the interviews might be a little out of order, to be honest, because there's certain pieces that I don't have yet. He's still, as I'm filming this, I have some of his stuff, and there's some stuff that's still on the way. So by the time you get through these 3 parts, you will have seen me talk about and review all the stuff that, I'm going to be talking to Dan and Tinela in the video. So if you see things out of order, you hear things that seems to be out of place as far as past tense versus present tense or future tense, just that's why. So don't mind us. That's just the editing, the world of editing. So I'm going to try to make it make sense and cohesive, but there's some things I may show out of order based on the interviewing, because I don't want to just show the interview all in one part. I want to spread it out and give you guys a little bit of both things in each video, showing some figures, giving my thoughts, and then going to the conversation that I had with them over a video chat and Messenger. And so I'm very excited. So I'm going to go over a couple of these things before we get into all that. I'm going to show a couple of Dan's pieces that I do have in my possession, and we're going to head into the interview, and then we're going to go from there. Part 1, part 2, part 3. So I like to call this part, my Joebizz34’s Halloween 2023 1/6 video special, a new beginning, which obviously, kind of honoring Friday the 13th there with that subtitle. But it is a new beginning. It's a new beginning for 1/6. It's, we got a lot of exciting stuff. We got other artists that are kind of coming in there, really good stuff. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff, not only just from Dan, but from Creep Customs, from Gabriel, who's been killing it with Freddy sculpts. And I'm going to get into that and show you all the stuff I have with that. In addition to some old favorites that we already know, Ryan Harper. I got some stuff to show you there. The Ski 1990, who did a fantastic a new Myers sculpt, like the stretch mask look that I had painted by Nikolai. So you're going to see that. I'm going to show you a ton of goodies in this. So please stay tuned. Get your popcorn out. Get your candy corn if you're watching us on Halloween. And I'm going to try to release these as quick as possible so that by the time Halloween hits, we have everything out. Okay, so here we go. So anyway, I went over, Jason 9 back there. Now I wanted to show this real quick. This is a Freddy versus Jason that inspired me, and I put this together myself with the help of some other parts here that I'm going to break down and give it to you. So the body, I built it up on a body that I had actually received from some figures I got from another artist, and he was kind to sell me, some of his bashes and stuff at a very reasonable rate, a reasonable cost. And some of it I wanted as is, and some of it I wanted to tweak further. And I will give him credit. I'm going to flash his name here on the bottom, because the figure I'm showing here that I put together, this Freddy versus Jason, Freddy versus Jason, FVJ Jason. He did the shirt and the jacket that I got originally from him, and then I kind of like filled in the rest with the pants, and I got actually Jason shoes from the Sideshow Jason that is, a lot of people don't like these Frankenstein boots, but it is accurate for this Jason. The machete that I got from him as well. The gloves I put there, so he has the black gloves. I inquired the blue shirt underneath, as you could see there, that goes underneath the shirt that was done by the other artist. And the mask and head sculpt was done and painted by Legio 7. So this is Legio 7's work, and you can see the mask underneath, the head sculpt underneath. Look at that. beautifully done and painted. So this is something I did, meaning I added this sculpt to the figure, used this and the body as a base, and then I kind of filled in the rest with the clothing I had gotten, plus what I added to kind of try to make an accurate Jason from FVJ. So beautiful piece. I'll show you the back. The jacket was very well done. Look at the O-ring and everything, that the straps, that the work that Legio7 did. You know, very good sculpt. There's the Freddy vs. Jason mask. Now, I had another cleaner mask that I used with it too, that I also got from the other artist. But this is, you know, the one that actually came with the sculpt that's accurate to the sculpt. But again, let's give you another peek underneath there. Look at Legio7's work there. I mean, that's just amazing work right there. Let me get in close here. The details. I mean, again, this is another case where, you know, do you have to show it unmasked, because you really didn't really see too much of him unmasked in that film. But, you know, once again, the behind the scene footage and what have you, you know, that, you know, this is basically what he looked like. And this is a very great interpretation. Legio7 does some really killer work, and the paint work is excellent. I don't know if he painted this directly or if somebody else got their hands on and painted it, you know. But I believe Legio7 did the paint work. I mean, you could see the dirtiness and the wear and tear on the mask. That's very accurate. And, you know, I'm really proud of this figure overall, how it came together. So, you know, again, look at this work. And again, I'm forgetting the name of the person that did the jacket and the shirt here that I used, and the machete. So I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen once I look it up. So again, the shirt and the jacket was done by Isaac. That was the name. The profile name is Emily Isaac. I think there's two people in there, but that's who did the original figure, and it was more of a concept, right? That the jacket, which is a great job on the jacket, and the shirt, and then I basically used that to kind of fill it in with the you know, this sculpt, and make a more, to me, a more my version, or more accurate Jason from Freddy vs. Jason, versus it being a concept Jason. But he did great. He did a great job, and without his work on this jacket and shirt, it wouldn't look as good. So kudos to Isaac, or Emily Isaac, as known on Facebook and Messenger. So I just wanted to get that in there, because I don't like to not give the right people credit. And I deal with a lot of people in this hobby, and sometimes I just momentarily forget the names. So I wanted to make sure that I remembered that and got that in there. So beautiful work, and I'm very proud of this figure overall. Like I said, I love this figure. I got, you know, nice props for it when I posted it, and I think I got the stature right. The height, he's very tall. You could see, you know, he dwarfs, you know, the other Jason Goes to Hell there, and he dwarfs my Mezco Jason 7. Now, I want to give you a little story about this real quick. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Chris Yeast. He used to make these weapons, and he made this bush hook that is phenomenal. And this thing is really sharp. This is a real weapon, just kind of cut down to 1/6. This thing will hurt you if you were to actually try to cut skin with that. I mean, it's not that dangerous. It is dulled down, but, you know, I'm exaggerating a bit. But it has a real metal. It's real metal. It's a real blade, and it has a real feel to it. And it's really sharp, especially at the tip there. So, you know, the rivets, everything, the piece here is all metal, and then the wood stick. It's really amazing. I've had this for a while, and I'll never part with it, especially since Chris does not currently make weapons anymore, which is a real shame, because he was really good at it. But if he ever comes out of retirement, you know, I'll be the first to shout it, let everybody know, because everybody would want to own something of his. And anyway, so I have it with this Mezco Jason. So the story behind this Mezco Jason was, this was a Mezco Jason 7 that was originally like, what, $45, $35 back in the day. And it frankly didn't look very good. So I had gotten my hands on it way back when, and I kind of redid it, and I put Sideshow clothing on it, re-weathered it, repainted it, you know, kind of reworked the body so that the Sideshow clothing was on the actual body that's actually a plastic body normally. And I was very proud of it. And I did sell it to somebody. And that person, not mentioning any names at this point, I don't even know if they're still in the hobby or not, but that person went on and took credit for it, because they altered a few things with it and tried to make it like it was them, and even had the audacity to use my pictures that were taken in my home with his logo on it. So kind of a sore spot. And I forgot about it. It was years ago. Then all of a sudden, one day on eBay, Bobby, everybody knows Bobby in the hobby. He got his hands on this, and he was selling it on eBay, and I saw it on there, and um, I instantly recognized it, but I didn't know his eBay name, so I didn't realize it was him. And I reached out and I said, "Hey, where did you get this? This is actually something I did years ago," and he couldn't believe it. So we made a deal for me to actually buy it back, to get it back. And he was very gracious to let me have it back, knowing that I was the one that originally owned it. And I told him the story, the history behind it. So when I got it back, I decided to kind of update it even further, and I reworked the clothing again. I ripped off all the nonsense that this other owner did to it, and that did not improve it at all, and got it back down to the original clothing that I did. And I reworked it, kind of altered the color, weathered it, gave it more of that greenish, swampy green look, and reworked the paintwork again. And I have him, now sporting an Oz, just an Oz 7 mask, which, by the way, if you guys, anybody out there has never owned an Oz Jason 1/6 mask or life size, he does both, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really need to get one of these. And he always, if you could see it, I don't know if you could see, he always initials it. It's hard to zoom in, but you could see in there he does put his name on it to kind of, have its authenticity on it. It's hard to see on video, but it is there. And he does that with all his masks. But look at the detail on this mask. This is a great Part 7 mask. And I mean, the coloring, everything, the weathering, everything is very, even down to the markings on the mask, is very, very great, very detailed, very accurate, just magnificent. So really good job there. So shout out to Oz, AUZ. He has a store where you can order masks. He has several different masks from several different Jasons, and in some cases he even makes head sculpts for some of them. So look for his profiles on Facebook, Instagram, and find out about his shop. It's I think I have it. It's a Yahoo shop or something like that. I'll put it here in the picture for reference. But anyway, so I updated the mask. As you can see, the head underneath was repainted. This was actually the original, which is not great, but it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's inferior to other people that make, obviously, Jason 7 head sculpts, including some that Dan did that I'll show you later, that kind of blows this away. But I'm very proud for what this is. I mean, I turned originally anywhere from $15 to $30 figure that now goes for more money because people, it's now considered like a collector's item. But I turned it into something that, I feel is pretty damn good, considering, I got the chain on there from Sideshow. I do want to shorten it, make it more accurate, but right now it's long because it's the Sideshow version. The chain is way too low, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter. And, paint up the rest of the shoes, and he's sporting the bush hook, which is just a really nice touch, kind of back out there. But look at that. He has shelf presence, man. I mean, for what it is, I'm really proud of it. And especially with the Oz mask, it really brings it to life. Look at that. So really cool, man. I just wanted to show it. I'm so happy I got it back, and I feel like I was exonerated, for getting it back and being able to get my hands on it again. And yeah, thanks, Bobby, for selling it back to me. So anyway, let's move on. I'm going to now shift gears a bit. I'm going to show you a couple more Jasons. Since we're on the Jason kick right now, I want to switch gears now and show you some Jasons that I've gotten from Gallactibles, and then we're going to go from there. And then we're going to go into the interview I had with him and Tinela. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Look at that beautiful orange hue in the dark. This is Gallactibles 1 of 1 burnt Jason. Look at this. Here's his card of COA, or Mama's Boy. Gallactibles, Mama's Boy, burnt 1 of 1. Beautiful. So what he's got here is he's got a dock base that has the light in there that has one battery pack that you can see there that just takes 2 AA's. And then he's got another one back there that goes into his foot and then controls the burning effect lighting throughout the body. This is a very detailed figure. Now, we've seen it reviewed on his channel. You know, it's been shown before, but I am exclusively doing a review on it that, you know, is from a different perspective than Dan showing it himself. Look at the head sculpt here. He did this head sculpt. This is his. All his head sculpt there. Very menacing. He talks in the interview about the different gens he does. You know, I think he said this is a Generation 2 version, but very specific to this look. And you'll hear more about it when I talk to him, and he'll go into more detail. But look at the melt effect. Look at the burnt effect. The nails. There's the nails in the chest. It's in there, and those nails are sturdy. They're not going anywhere. They're not flimsy. They don't feel like they're going to fall off. The wet look, and like I said, he got the char and the burn effects right in there. And this is a very specific moment in the film. This is when he was burned by, well, I'd like to say Carrie. That was, New Blood was basically Carrie versus Jason, but obviously they couldn't say Carrie, so they said Tina. But let's all face it, if they ever made a Carrie versus Jason, the New Blood would have been it. Telekinesis, she sent him crashing down into the basement. She split his mask off at this point. I will show there's going to be a split mask that is on the way that Dan says is part of this that he's going to send me if I want to display it with the split mask. But I gotta be honest with you, as he says, with this version, this is the first time I've ever had a New Blood Jason where it makes more sense to keep the mask off and more accurate to the look, because, you know, in this scene after he was set on fire by her and the mask was split off, he didn't wear the mask anymore, and he shows up on the dock very angry, very pissed off, and ready to kill. And this is a very specific look to that scene. So really, to be honest with you, with this figure, there's no mask necessary. But the split mask is cool, and I certainly will keep it as an accessory, you know, to change it up here and there if I so choose. And the nice thing, too, is that these two battery packs are independent of each other, so you can either have the dock on without the figure, or vice versa. You can have the figure showing the lights without the dock, or neither. So they're not tied together all in one thing. They're two separate things. So you can remove the figure from the dock and display it on its own and without the dock if you choose. The other nice thing is that this beast kind of feels heavy like a statue. I mean, he is solid, and he stands very well on his own. I mean, he's on the dock right now. There's no support. There's no chest, hip or crotch grabber, right? There's nothing here supporting or holding him up. He's doing that all on his own. And whether you have him standing on the dock or not, he stands very well. I don't have a fear of him being knocked over or falling over. Not to say you always assume, you always want to be careful with your collectibles, but, or in this case, Gallactibles. Sorry, Dan, I know that was a bad pun. But, you know, it's nice and comforting to know that your figure is stable and you don't have to worry. He definitely got the paintwork nice. There's the kind of the reddish hue, kind of like ghost eye effect that, you know, is a nice detail that, you know, is often included, or artists, you know, include with their paint apps, and he certainly captured that right there. There's another concept Jason I'm going to be showing you that he did another Jason 7 sculpt with it as part of that, which I will get to later. And he also, there's an artisan Jason that I'll be showing that he's sending me. I don't have it yet, but it's coming. But by the time these 3 parts are done, you will see it. So we got that to look forward to. So awesome work here. Kudos to Dan. This is all him. This is all him. This is a complete one-off that he did. Again, as the certificate says, 1 of 1. So he gets full credit for this one. This is all him, and he, you know, he did tell me it was a tough one to give up, but it is spoken for, and it is mine, and it is staying here. I will just, for full disclosure, the artisan Jason and this one I did purchase from him, and paying him for that. So This one over here now is a whole different animal. This is a little older. He made this about, I think he said a year or so ago. And he did this and he talks about this in the interview too that you guys will hear. He did this as sort of a concept one-off for a customer, which is shout out to Andrea. Everybody in the hobby knows Andrea. And this was something that, he made for him at the time. And then me and Andrea recently worked out a deal. He wanted something I had that I was selling, and we worked out sort of like a partial purchase slash trade. So now I have this wonderful figure, and it comes with a chock full of accessories as well, as you can see here. A body bag with a chain at the end that I have him holding at times, which is really cool. All right, I'm going to put this aside here for a second so you can kind of see the details on the dock. And he likes to call this Swamp Jason. So basically, it's a merge of a few, right? He's got the hooded head as well. This is actually a secondary head. He does have a head that resembles more the remake, which I'll show in a second. The basis of this is basically remake Jason, but mixed in other elements. He's got it a little bit more disheveled and torn up and weathered. He's got the chain there that kind of indicates more Jason 7, right? Kind of like he has, right? There you go. Or he's pissed. He's got the hooded version, which we all know in the remake Jason, there was a part in the beginning that he was hooded. A little more of a concept hood, though. Almost reminds me a little bit, like has a little bit of touch of that Scarecrow look in Batman Begins. Really cool, really freaky. Because it's kind of like, it's like not really open. It's like there, but not. It's kind of cool how can you even like see through that thing, but it's really cool. But it does have like the Scarecrow look too, which I like. He's got this crossbow thing, this bow and arrow weapon that I have it wearing around his waist. The machete. He's got the belt, and he's got the harness. He's got the accurate leg harness and belt and all that, like the remake Jason had. And the base, which is a dock, but it's in a swampy environment. Like I said, he calls this Swamp Jason. What I'd like to consider this, also this is like supposed to be like, I think like a head in a bag thing you can have him hold. So he's got tons of things here. It's really cool. And the base is really nice. It really brings home that effect that he's in like a swampy, grassy, like the bayou in Florida, kind of environment. That's what it looks like. Or somewhere in Mississippi, Louisiana, or somewhere, I don't know, out there in the swamp lands. But really cool. And, as he says, this is sort of like a concept. I'd like to consider this. I'm going to take this off. There is a support crotch grabber for this one. Look at the shoes, and I'll show you the back, the jacket that looks very accurate to the remake Jason jacket. And he's got an exposed back here, sort of like another touch of Jason 7 or Jason Goes to Hell. Adding that little detail of the damage on the back, seeing his, his spine and backbones and stuff like that. And the front, like I said, you could see some wounds and details, bandages and stuff right there. I mean, he really went all out with the details here. It's really amazing. The mud and the grime that's all over the outfit. So I'd like to also consider this sort of like, and Dan agrees, we talked about it. And again, you'll hear him talk about this when I interview him, that I look at it like, and he agrees, like I said, that this could also be considered sort of like the sequel to the remake that never was, right? If he had progressed, just like the old Jason films, where there's a progression where he gets worse and worse and he degenerates more, he decays more, he kind of goes through more, the look changed from movie to movie, right? Because he kept, getting more and more injured and damaged and so on, and he went from, 5 to 6 to 7, so on. Well, 4, right, when he got killed off and he comes back, right? And then 6, and then 7, he looks like a zombie, basically, like that. And then, so on. So if the remake series had continued, I could totally see him kind of evolving into this kind of a look. So you can also say that this was like the sequel to the remake that never was. Now, if you see here, the head comes off. He has a system that kind of works pretty good. It's got a a neck plug and all that, but there's also like a tack-like substance that makes it really easy to switch. And this is his other head sculpt that goes with it. And I kind of like the hooded one, to be honest with you. But if you want to go more like the remake Jason look, or this is a remake Jason, but again, with a little concept spin to it. And again, after he got damaged in part 1, or the remake part 1, I should say, would this be kind of like what he would look moving forward, right? Look at the little details in the skin there and the maggots and stuff, and really nice. He's got the blonde hair there, right? So if you put this one on, right, look at that. So you can also go with that look with no mask if you want, right? Kind of has a Hills with no eyes kind of look, or he looks like he could also be a variant in the movie Wrong Turn, right? He looks like he could be with was it Three Fingers and that crew. So, you know, he has definitely a lot of looks going on here. And then, like I said, here's the mask, which is very detailed. And again, it looks like the remake hockey mask, just with an added spin on it. And if you put that on his head here, so there you go. So there it is with, now, like I said, that's definitely more of a remake Jason look now, right? Let me get the mask on right, so it's kind of positioned right. So there you go. So now it definitely kind of has more of a remake Jason look. So really cool. And again, if you go to Gallactibles' YouTube channel, if you go to Dan's YouTube channel, he does a full video on this, a review that, you know, like I said, he did back when he first made this. So you can get a different take on it, or a little more info on it, you know, but it's really cool. And it's mine now. So there we go. More Gallactable goodness, all right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break from doing the figure stuff here, and I'm going to now lead into, you know, the first part of the interview that I had with Dan and Tinela. So sit back and enjoy as I pick their brains on a lot of this stuff. And still to come, I got to review and show his awesome, or Tinela and Dan's awesome Escape Myers. I have on loan, Dan gave me his prototype of that Escape Myers that he based the run off of. So I'm gonna review that very thoroughly after we watch this interview. Okay, so I'm gonna end this part with that and show you a couple more Jasons in my that I have up my sleeve, and then that's it. Then we're gonna go to part 2 that should be out hopefully a little down the road from this part. All right, so enjoy. All right, guys, I'm back showing some of the work that I'm showcasing this year in my vid. And I have special guests this year that are responsible for a lot of what you've been seeing and what I'm going to show. And right to my right here, we have Dan Terzo from Gallactibles, and we have the famous Tinela, who's been around for a while doing a lot of clothing sets and tailoring, with her husband doing weapons and so on. So welcome. I really appreciate you guys being a part of this vid this year. And you guys can see me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's very rare that people actually see me in my vid, so they're actually seeing me, because I don't really show myself. I usually just show the figures, but that's okay.
You are so handsome.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you can see, Dan's a good actor, so thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
All right, so.
Thank you for the invitation, Ron. Much appreciated.
Oh, no problem. I mean, listen, I've been mentioning. Yeah, no, I'm very honored that, you know, you guys are here and being part of it this year. This is very special. I know you guys got a lot of stuff going on, stuff you want to talk about, you know, past and present and future. So we'll cover all that and help you guys out here, spread the word. So not that you need my help, but I know you guys have been doing a lot of stuff lately, including some of the stuff I have here. So I have some prototypes here that belong to Dan that were part of runs, like the Leather Flicks here and the Escape Myers. So what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about Escape, or you want to?
I think we should start off with, like we mentioned, you know, just what are we really all about? And then we can start off with our first run, which was a tremendous success. And I think it was a complete home run. I got to say, the Escape Myers.
Absolutely.
So the way I see me and Tinela, and, you know, we have Julio from my other team.
Yes.
What we are. And I see us bringing the best out of each other, but we all bring the best that there is to offer.
Sure.
I think she is the best tailor. I think weathering, you know, I think come right up there with the best, and as far as sculpting and the Julio with the paint, you know, and just we just bounce ideas off each other really well. And it's just, you know, I really think that we are trying to achieve something that a lot of people forgot.
Sure. Absolutely.
First of all, I'm going to say it, respecting the customers, you know, that's my most important thing. And just overall in general, bringing quality, good time frames, and really being in love for the pieces.
Having that passion. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've never met anybody other than Julio and Tinela who have the same drive and passion. And I gotta tell you, Tinela's a perfectionist. Julio's a perfectionist. I'm for sure a perfectionist, and I think we always strive for the best. One thing that I really enjoy about Tinela is, and she does the same thing to me and Julio, we can criticize each other, but not in a bad way, in a way where, like, we can do this a little bit better. Let's do this.
Right.
Let's change this. We're not in a rush. It seems like we're in a rush to get things out, but we're not. We are just fast and efficient. That's the thing. Like, if I told you, we changed the escape about 2 times. We changed the shackles, I think, about 2 times. We added things at the end about 2 times. The back buckles, I've re-weathered it probably 2 times to make sure it was good. I retouched the hair a little bit 2 times from the beginning. And this goes for all the projects we're working on now. Like right now, she's redoing certain things on certain projects.
You can say what I'm redoing. It's not a big secret.
We're redoing like the pants on the Jason X, which I got the Jason X in front of me, which I will show you guys. It's not finished, it's 7%, but it was something that we wanted to bring, which we got to thank the people that sold out that run in one morning. And then we added 2 more slots, clothing sets, and we got to thank those who jumped on. And
absolutely.
Thank you to Ron as well, Andrea, Rob.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben Collectomaniac, everybody's on there. And Katie Garcia. And I gotta say, this is an amazing Jason X, and we're bringing it to you even better. So yeah, that's pretty much what we are at Amalgam. I don't know if Tinela wants to interject certain things in there.
Yeah, Tinela, what was the process? What went into with the clothing? So with the Escape Myers, like from start to finish, how long did this project take you guys to kind of pull together and kind of release it? I know it was pretty fast compared to...
Escape Myers, I'm in love with Myers. Everyone knows that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm right there with you.
And, I think by the end of this year, I will complete my Rob Zombie collection as well.
Okay, cool.
Say no more. Some people, they know what it's all about. So I'll have all the versions.
Nice.
In my personal collection, which I'm absolutely grateful for the amount of work that people put in.
Sure.
And last year, it was Daniel? Last year.
We spoke on doing it about a year ago.
Yeah,
okay.
She said, Tinela, would you fancy doing the Escape? I said, yeah, I do, but I don't know about the clothing, the bathrobe, the dressing gown.
Right, the robe here.
Material. I said, that's the only thing. The other ones, that's not an issue, blah, blah, blah. It was on the list to find things, because for me, if I don't find the perfect fabric, I can't start it.
Right.
I need that fabric to do it. I can't stay there and make the fabric and,
Sure.
For like painters, they stay there and paint it till it comes out, or ride the scooter as well. But for me, I need the fabric,
Sure.
Anyway, a year later, went shopping. We found the fabric. It's actually a funny story, this, but we'll keep it for ourselves. Anyway, I found the fabric and I messaged Daniel. Daniel, look what I found.
And I was like, what do you found it? I forgot about the project. Like, let's go. And we went into it. And
right.
What was it? Yeah. What was it? Like 2 weeks after we had a prototype ready to go?
Yes. It's I need the certain things to do it, and I know that Daniel said it looks like we're rushing things, but we are actually planning next year now, me and Daniel. We've got runs that are already done. We're just waiting to release the stuff.
Nice.
Touches, how do you call them? Finishes and touches, you call it.
Right.
Final touches, the final details.
Sweet.
The final details. We need to sort out some things for us to be 100% happy. If we are 100% happy, because that's the thing. Us, we are the biggest critics. I'm the biggest critic on my ass. Oh, I see that corner, I see that thing, I see that,
Yeah.
Not blind or unasked, but that's I could have done at that moment,
Sure.
And it came out. I'm absolutely stunned how it came out. Came out absolutely amazing. They made amazing hair, amazing head.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's definitely fantastic.
And I gotta say, it adds a certain validity, which we gotta give a shout out to a certain person that the actor himself, Tyler Maine, is getting a copy.
Wow, that's incredible.
That adds a validity to it. So shout out to Norman. You're the man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack.
So, the way, I guess, I really want to mention this. The way me and Tinela kind of started was organically. We did not plan this. It was very organic. Me and Tinela have been talking. I reached out to her about 2 years ago for a Part 8 Jason clothing set, which I'm still waiting on.
Okay.
Wink, wink. And, you know, she's like, I'm really busy and all that, which I understood absolutely, because obviously she has a full-time job on top of this as well as I do. And then all of a sudden we start talking here and there. You know, she's very approachable, very sweet. And then somehow I asked her about the escape. And lo and behold, a year later, and then 2 weeks after she says we got it, I'm like, all right, I'll do the head sculpt. I'll do this. It's just kind of weird how we didn't plan for it, but somehow in the matter of a month, it evolved into runs, product.
That's great.
I don't. It is probably the most organic thing I've ever seen. There was never any agenda behind it. There was never nothing. Because I had my own thing with Macabre Art Studio, me and Julio.
Right.
So there was never anything that was planned.
Do you remember, sorry to interrupt you, Daniel, do you remember when I showed you that picture with all the Jasons? And I said, can we do it, please?
It literally was a picture that had every single Jason from every single movie. Said, can we do this? I was like, which one? She's like, all of them. I was like, okay, so I get
nice.
I'm very grateful. I'm very happy. You know, I'm still doing things with Macabre because obviously we had the Netflix Leatherface that we announced that we are working on and finishing. Tinela's got things with her with Tots and everything, as you guys know.
Nice.
But we've all evolved into something more.
Right.
The best of everybody is now one. Like we are. I don't know. We don't have a name for it. We are us. This is what we are. This is our crew. This is us.
It's a team. Yeah. Collaboration. Yeah.
I would say more than a team. I'm not gonna lie. I feel kind of more like a family because you know we can disagree but move on. We got to give a big shout out, honestly. Other than Robert Terrell, he's been a guy that since day one. That guy's been my road dog.
Right.
He's been supporting me, bringing me through the top. Shout out to Odell. Odell, you know, he comes off a little brash, but he means well, and he's been one of our biggest supporters. And we got amazing things coming with Odell. Tinela,
Sweet.
Dave, Julio, my guys, Patrim, everybody. Like I'm just surrounded by a bunch of people because my ultimate goal at the beginning was to make my own studio to go legit. And so I talked to Tinela about this. So I'm actually working towards that as well. And I got my team here is just it's insane, but. I just want to say thank you to everybody. And it's amazing what we're achieving.
Absolutely.
For the prices, for the exclusivity, for the time, for the customer respect. Like, I think this is needed. It's something that's been missing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I will say the hobby was getting a little dull.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
No, I would second that, and I do have a renewed excitement, you know, and I appreciate and I want to thank you personally for supplying me some stuff here to show for the sake of the video and to help promote you guys as well. So it's a equal opportunity here, you know, for both sides. And is there any other runs or things coming up that you guys want to discuss here, or you want to say, or you want to give a sneak peek to?
Tinela, should I take charge or you want to go?
All right, guys, so I cut it there for now. Tune in to part 2 to see more of that interview. And, you know, we spent a good amount of time talking. So I don't want to, you know, have the whole video just be about the interview. Like I said, I want to give you guys a taste of both worlds here. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch back to doing some figure reviews and kind of discuss more of his work and Tinela's work to kind of complement what they were just kind of talking about here. And, you know, I want to cover this one. So we already talked about Escape Myers. They kind of touched on that as their first successful run. Sorry, I'm just kind of closing my door here. And, you know, I showed you the burnt Jason. Dan will talk more about that figure later in the interview that you'll see in part 2. And, you know, he does discuss this one here and this one as well. So I'm going to save this for last. This is kind of like, to me, the main event of this video to wrap this part up. But I want to cover this too because he does get into this figure as well that I have in my possession that he sent me to show. And this is a very interesting figure. It's a concept Jason 9, as he calls it, which is kind of a hybrid between the look of, obviously, Jason Goes to Hell mixed with a very familiar Part 7 look, I would say, too. Look at the rib cage and the exposed areas like a part 7 would show, and look at the details of each of the maggots he's got here, the worms coming out and stuff like that he's got throughout the chest and stuff. The mask kind of resembles a part 7 mask, but at the same time also a Jason Goes to Hell mask and so on. So of course another hybrid there. Now the head sculpt that he has with this one is a Jason Goes to Hell looking head sculpt when it's unmasked. And I had just talked about this earlier with the Tony Clement's Jason Goes to Hell that I reviewed, that, you know, he didn't go with an unmasked look. So here it is. It's, although concept and not exactly the, I guess what you could say behind the scenes accurate, screen accurate version, it's definitely very close, and it definitely is recognizable. If anybody is a fan of Jason Goes to Hell or the unmasked look, you would instantly look at this and say, oh yeah, this is a take on Jason Goes to Hell. But what obviously Dan, you know, Gallactibles spin on it, right? So this is a fantastic head sculpt. It's painted really well, nice and dark colors, very, you know, and he will go into this. He goes into the paintwork on this. He goes into, you know, what his thinking is here. So, you know, again, you got a little Jason, you got a lot of Jason 7, I feel, new blood going on here. You got Jason Goes to Hell here. You have Jason 9, even Jason 10, I think, especially with these chains, you know, these chain bracelets he's got here. Definitely a Jason 10 thing going on. Not the Uber Jason, but, you know, obviously the Jason that, you know, looks like this before he becomes Uber Jason later in the film. He also has, you know, like I said, the mask, and then this machete that he made for it, which is really nice. It's very, you know, very gory, covered with blood and stains here. And again, this is made of metal, so he, you know, it's got some weight to it, which is nice. That goes with this figure. And he also gave me to show a part 7 that goes with this. So you have the choice of putting this on versus that head sculpt. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're reviewing this one, and Dan will get more into this as he has different versions of different variants, Jason 7s and different gens, as he calls it, generations. You can see there is a subtle difference. I mean, not much. They you know, very much consistent and very much resemble each other. But looking at it, especially in person, there is subtle differences with the mouth, as you can see there. This mouth, you can see this part of the lip kind of overlaps a little more than this one. This one's a little more open. You see extra teeth here. The teeth are slightly different positioning, and again, subtle, but, you know, effective. And, you know, he's evolving and he's improving his sculpts as he goes on. And he did mention that he specifically liked this one for the burnt Jason because of his specific look, being really pissed off in the scene after being burned and basically, you know, kind of owned by Tina after being burned and having his mask split. So this kind of works for this. But I mean, this could easily also, you know, do the trick. Same thing with this to here. So if you take this off, you know, you got, you take this off and you could definitely put this on in its place. And now you can kind of go more with the Jason New Blood look, which is what I absolutely love about this figure, because it definitely resembles several looks. You can see a belt buckle there. It has a belt similar, once again, to a Jason Goes to Hell or Jason 10. And, you know, but at the same time, you know, has a New Blood look going on. Now, here's something that's really cool. If you take these hands off, okay, I'm going to take this head off for a second. I don't want anything to fall. If you take this head off, okay, and you take these bracelets off, which are easily done, okay, and this is what's really cool about this figure. I'm being careful because I'm doing this, as usual, with one hand. I should learn better by now. I did buy something to prop the phone so I can, you know, have it more steady, but, you know, I get lazy and don't use it. So let me pause it for a second. I'm going to put the hands back on without the bracelets and show you something. Okay, so check this out, right? Very easily now, you could definitely just say, this is a New Blood, and go that route. And all you really need is, you know, a part 7 mask and the chain to go around his neck, similar to that one, or my Mezco one I showed earlier back there, right? You put that on him, you keep the bracelets off, the you know, the chain bracelets here, and now you really got a really cool, easily can have a part 7 New Blood look, which is badass here. I mean, it's really cool. So, you know, it's amazing, the options. I mean, you could still go with this one too if you want, right? And you could still put this mask on him. without the bracelet. So it's a fun figure. I mean, it's a very creative, fun figure because, I mean, look, he even looks badass like that. I mean, your imagination can go nuts with this concept figure. I mean, you can kind of be like, this could be a sequel that never was, once again, like I said, with the Swamp Jason, or, it could be more familiar and be more accurate to, like I said, a Part 7, and so on. So kudos to Gallactibles. Dan, you really had your creative juices here going. And again, one more close look at these maggots and stuff. Look at the worms and the maggots just coming out of the rib cage. And what I like about his Part 7s, same thing like with here, is that it's got depth. It looks like there are organs behind there. Like there is a body behind there. It's not like 2D. It's like a 3D-ish, same thing here. He's very good about creating that effect that there is more going on in there, you see? Look at that. That's amazing, 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 amazing. Okay, I'm gushing now. Anyway, to wrap up this video, because I don't want this video to go too long, we have 2 more parts coming, I'm telling you. So going to have a lot more Tinela and Dan. But again, this is their prized possession right now. And Dan gave me this on loan so that I can review it. There's other reviews out there of it. I know Rob Terrell, I think made a short vid or gave his thumbs up on this. And of course, Dan himself, I believe, showed this in a vid. And if he hasn't, he will. But I do believe I checked it out. I checked out his channel. So he's reviewed a lot of these figures that, I'm also reviewing now. But it's kind of fun to, like I said, get a different perspective on it, get somebody else's eyes on it, right? Kind of a neutral, unbiased opinion here. Look at this figure. And now I'm really going to gush this. Like I said, I'm editing this because I am filming this after the interview that I had with, the whole interview with Dan and Tinela. And I did play the part where we kind of discussed this figure as their first run. And Dan and Tinela should have nothing but smiles on their face with a very successful run. And this is the prototype. The head sculpt and the hair and the paintwork and everything is pretty much the same as the run, okay? This is the prototype though. So the as Dan and Tinela will tell you later in the interview that you'll see, when Tinela did the clothing, this robe started off like white, which is a clean slate, for Dan to then weather it and color it any way he wanted, which obviously he went with the accurate weathered, dirty gray look, which is really accurate to the movie. And look at the chains and the harness, which is amazing. And it just, I mean, you can see more details under the robe here, that if you look here, there is a bracelet, chain bracelets under there. I don't want to like knock the figure over trying to show you, but I am going to get under there so you can see. So there you go. So there is little details there. Everything is there. They didn't chintz on anything here. The chain going down to the feet. There's the slippers and the feet. The hair. And the one thing that impresses me too is look at the mask and look at the string. There is an accurate looking mask string there. It's not like a piece of rope or something else. It's actual string that simulates the mask. And the hair is just great. The way it flows. I don't want to touch it. Especially since this is his prototype. I don't want to mess with it because, to be honest with you, to be really clear here, guys, there is a head sculpt underneath that mask. That mask is removable. It can technically come off. Am I going to do it? No. Hell no. I'm not touching this because it's perfect. And who the hell would want to display this without this beautiful pumpkin mask on him? So I'm not touching it, and I'm going to return it to Dan exactly this way. I do not want to risk messing with it. But for those enthusiasts out there or curious, for people that were lucky enough to get on this run and have one, you technically can remove the mask. There is a tailor-made head sculpt under there. Okay, so he is there. So, the details, again, are there. Now, the only difference with the prototype versus the run that was pointed out to me was that I guess they made a mistake with where the chains are on the harness, on the belt, that technically the chains are supposed to be here on this side and up here on this side as well. So with the run, they fixed that and they put they put rivets here and they put the chains to kind of stay up here. So it kind of has like a letter M. Instead of a W, it's kind of an M, where the arms or the hands are supposed to be closer to the belt, kept with the chains just like that. So, for anybody that got the run, got one from the run, they'll get that corrected version. And I think the only other minor detail here was that there was a buckle or something added to the belt back here that Dan had shown me on one of the run figures that's missing from here. But again, who cares? This figure is badass and awesome. And honestly, if they never told me about these differences, I wouldn't care. Because the one thing I want to point out right now is that as everybody knows, there was not one, not two, but literally 3 versions of this movie, Rob Zombie Halloween. It was a hot editing mess, because what happened was that there was an early draft, I guess you want to call it, or a demo of it, or whatever, a test pilot of it, whatever term you want to call it, that a screener, basically, that's the right term, a screener, that leaked out. I remember, it was back in 07, I believe, when it came out, and the screener slipped out, and people were able to download it and watch it before it even actually went to the theaters. It wasn't the best copy, but it was good enough that you got the point. And I remember watching it, and it had a different edit and different scenes to it. Then they kind of re-edited it, and there was a theater version that I ended up seeing in the movies that pissed me off thoroughly, because I liked the screener much better than what I saw in the theater. And in the theater, there was a whole different scene of how he escaped from the asylum, where he was escorted out in basically these shackles and harness with police officers, security guards or what have you, and he ends up kind of like, taking them out and then getting away. The screener had a much darker version where there was actually a rape scene in the room that he was in with all his masks and stuff hanging up on the wall. Much more brutal, much more, obviously, risque, that I guess they didn't want to go with in the theater version, which I don't know why, because if the movie's rated R, it's rated R, who cares? But I guess it was borderline, NC-17, I guess, if they left that in there. I don't know. But so what they ended up doing is they like I said, they shot a whole different scene. That scene, the screener scene, and I believe when Zombie came out, sort of a hybrid between the two, which became his director's cut version that everybody did see and was released officially on Blu-ray, DVD, and all that stuff, was I guess the best of both worlds of the screener and the theater version. And in that version, I could be wrong, I think this is more accurate to that version, where he didn't have the straps here, he just had the strap here, the belt here, and then back down to the shackles on his feet, and that was pretty much it. It was a much more simplistic setup, or I should say, belts and chain system with not any of this going on up here in that version, where he ended up escaping differently because of the rape that went on in his room, and he escaped from there, killed one of the characters, and then kind of made his way out. So there is various versions of this. So I'd like to say, for the prototype, I kind of feel like, in a weird way, it kind of captures both those versions, right? With the way this is set up, the more simplistic strap and chain system versus the more complex system with the X, and with the, again, the chains being here and here. So, but again, all that aside, let's get back to the work of the figure, okay? Again, guys, I'm just not gonna talk for a second. I mean, have you ever seen one better than this? I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm not bullshitting here. All right, this is the best head sculpt, mask, and version I've seen overall. The look of the body, the size of the body, look at the height on him. I mean, just to appreciate the height on him. Okay, I want you to see something for a second. Now, this burnt Jason, which is a monster and a beast, is standing on a dock. Now, you put this dude next to him with slippers and bare feet, dirty bare feet, by the way. Very good details there as well. And I want you to look at the height. Okay, he's still a little bit, maybe what, a quarter or a half inch bigger, taller than the burnt Jason, and he's not on the friggin' dock. Look at the extra. Now you lift him up here, look at the difference. Would you look at that? I mean, you want to talk about Tyler Mane, man, that's perfect. Okay, then you put him next to this prototype here, you put him next to this concept, Jason 9, Jason New Blood, whatever you want to call this guy, and again, look, he's taller than him, okay? He's taller than him. So this figure is massive. I mean, beyond massive, and truly captures, the spirit of this character, this figure. So again, Tinela, Dan of Gallactibles, and everybody involved. This is the box it comes with. Look at the beautiful box. So for people that are on the run, this is the artwork of the box. So you even get a box with it, you know, that it comes with. And, you know, I got to say, man, for people that got this or not on this run, kudos. And if this is a sign of what things are to come with these two collaborating, and you know, his friend Julio and whoever else that's involved with any of this stuff, that you know, he does or does in collaboration with Tinela and so on, you know, it's unstoppable. So again, guys, congratulations. This is a work of art. This is a miracle in 1/6 size, I got to tell you. So there we go. All right, guys. So I think I've had enough, man. I need a break after showing these beauties. So, and I'm going to be back very soon before Halloween with part 2, and I'm going to try to shoot for part 3 to kind of land right on Halloween if I can, or the night before. Got a lot of things more to shoot, a lot of editing, so wish me luck. I'm going to get this to you guys in time, but if I died tomorrow, I'm glad you guys at least get to see this. All right, guys. Till next time, to be continued. End of part 1. We'll be back shortly. Peace out.